This morning on our local news, WABI TV News, they're continuing to report on the shooting in Biddeford. And what I noticed is they briefly mention, just like in the national news, they briefly mention that the ICE agent that shot this guy, just before he shot him, was wanting this guy to stop. He just wanted him to stop. And this guy decided not to comply with what the ICE agent wanted and proceeded to do whatever he did. And none of the media, they mentioned that this situation did happen. ICE agent tells him to stop, and he doesn't. He keeps running. Now, my first question is, why did this guy run when law enforcement is saying, stop? Stay right where you are. Stop. And more than likely he would have said, had he stopped, the officer would have said, please get out of the vehicle, please identify yourself, please something. That's why the agent wanted him to stop. And yet the media isn't focusing on that. They're kind of saying, yeah, the agent asked him to stop, demanded him to stop, he didn't, and he kept going and trying to get away. And then the agent just decided to shoot and kill him. And the agent is claiming that the guy was going to use the car as a weapon. And that's why he felt the public wasn't safe, so he had to react. But I keep going back to, why did the agent want the guy to stop? I'm sure he had a good reason. Usually when police officers want you to stop, it's because they suspect something. They want to ask you a question. They want to know who you are. They want to know what you're doing. They are there doing their job. And if you're someone within the perimeters of what they're doing, they need to know who you are, why you're there, and what you're doing. Because I guarantee you, the ICE agents didn't know this person. And they needed to identify him. It was as simple as that. But for some reason, this guy made a choice when told by law enforcement to stop. He decided to keep going, to keep running, to keep going. Now, I know anytime I have ever heard of someone being told by law enforcement to stop and they don't listen, they just keep the car in gear and keep going, usually it's because they have something to hide. Now, I don't know if this was the fact, I don't know. But a friend of mine sent me a picture that someone had taken of this kid's car. They took the picture of the front of his vehicle and they got his license plate. And on the license plate, you can clearly see that the stickers, you know how you have, like mine, I believe mine says October of 2026. That's when my car has to be re-registered, as we all know. Well, this young man who died, on his license plate, it said March of 2025. Not 2026, 2025. So March, April, May, June, July. So you're talking a year and 5 months ago, his tags ran out. So is that the reason why he didn't stop? Because he knew he had tags that had run out a year and a half ago? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. We all would know if he had just stopped and done what the law enforcement had told him to do, but he didn't. He made a bad choice, and he's no longer with us, and I'm sorry. I don't think anyone should have to die under these circumstances, because if that's what he was running for, because he had tags that ran out, are you serious? But if that's what his reason was, he lost his life because his tags ran out? I mean, I suppose that's possible. I don't know. But what gets me is the media, our local media, WABI, up there in Bangor. The woman comes on there, Joy Hollowell, and she says, protesters are still upset today, and the investigation is still going on, and they're talking about this situation in Biddeford. And she says, and here's so-and-so to report it. And the first thing they do is they go to this video they have, and there's this woman standing there, and she's got a microphone, and abolish ICE, or get rid of ICE, or whatever it is that she's saying. It's basically implying, we got to get rid of ICE, we got to get rid of ICE. And then they go on to show these protesters that are all upset about everything that happened. And all right, right off the bat, I'm not saying that these people don't have a right to express their feelings and emotions. It's called freedom of speech, and they can do this if they want to. They're more than welcome to. Before I started protesting, I would still go back to the main question: why did this guy run when he was told to stop by law enforcement? Why did he do it? Why did he run? This whole situation hinges on why did he run. Now, we know he's no longer with us, so we're probably never going to know that answer. And if you don't know that answer, how can you just do like these protesters are doing and jump right to a conclusion that, well, ICE just did this because they wanted to, and this is what they do? I just don't understand it. I don't, but this is what the protesters want to do. Now, on top of the protesters taking this position, then you've got WABI with their cameras there, filming it, and basing this whole thing on the protesters' narratives. None of them were there to see and witness what had happened. None of us was. At all. But one thing that we all do know is the ICE agents told him to stop, and he did not. Now, you tell me, in what situation has it ever been right for someone in a vehicle that's not known by law enforcement, and law enforcement tells you to stop and you don't, that there's always been a finest kind okay outcome from it? 9 times out of 10, it usually ends either the person hurts somebody else, or gets in an accident, or causes fear in the community because they're running at a high speed, rate of speed. I've never known a situation like this ever to turn out good. The only thing good is when the police officers catch the guy or girl that's fleeing after they've been told to stop. When someone makes that choice to flee after they've been told to stop, they are making a very bad choice. And anybody, even you watching this video, knows that if a police officer tells you to stop, your best thing to do is to stop. If they tell you to get out of the car, get out of the car. If they tell you to do anything, you just do what they tell you to do. And as long as there's nothing wrong, once they find out that you're not the person they're looking for, once they find out you're not a threat to anyone, once they find that everything about you is good and legal and right, they'll let you go. And that's exactly what happened with this kid. or young man, or whatever he was, he was told to stop and he didn't. I can't keep emphasizing this enough. And my personal opinion is this ICE agent did what he was trained to do. And I don't think anybody else who had the same kind of training as this ICE agent would have done things any different. You tell someone to stop because you don't know who they are. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know why they're doing what they're doing. You have no idea. And you're in a situation where there's a lot of law enforcement around, and you've got to do your job. And part of their job is to identify people and know what they're doing, why they're doing it, and then move on. And when this young man decided to flee, he left this ICE agent with no other choice, I think. Because I don't think this ICE agent just decided, well, I'm just going to hold up my gun and start shooting him. He did it because he felt that this guy was a threat. He didn't know who he was. He didn't know what else he was supposed to do. He's standing there, and this person is in an automobile, 2 tons of metal. I don't know. And when the media, like our local WABI News up there in Bangor, when they sit there and they keep pumping out how upset these protesters are, they're just adding fuel to the nobody knows what's going on, so they're jumping to a conclusion, and they shouldn't be doing that. And I say, shame on WABI News. If they had started the report out saying an investigation is underway and we're trying to determine why the young man ran, if they had started it out that way and then slowly worked their way into it, but the protesters, this is how they feel and this is what they're saying, that would have been one way to do it, but they didn't. They made a choice to start it out showing the protesters all upset and not even talking about how this guy ran after he was told to stop, and there's no answer as to why did he do that. And no one's really asking it. They're making the point that this is what happened, but as if it's just part of the story, that it is part of the story, but it's not important. The main focus is how upset these protesters are. It's how they're reporting it, and all they're doing is just, stirring it up. Riling it up is all they're doing. They're sensationalizing the story, and it's wrong, in my opinion. That's my opinion. But anyways, I'm running on 13 minutes here. I've gone 3 minutes over my 10-minute mark, but that's okay. All right. Thanks for dropping by and checking this out. This has been Politically Unfiltered. I'm Aro Betts, your host, and I hope you have a great day. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment. I want to know how you feel. That's what this is all about. Let's have a conversation. I want you to have a great day, and thank you for your time. Thank you. And have a good day. We're going. Bye.